I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
While we're still standing, I wanted to thank the public for being flexible with us and changing the meeting from 1 to 5 so that we're able to go to Ronnie Siller's funeral today.
We'll have just a moment of silence. Ronnie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the first item on the agenda is Liberty Lawn Care Site Plan Review application. We had closed the hearing and had, I think in an earlier draft on the agenda online that we were going to pass a resolution, but we are not going to do that. With discussions that we had and correspondence that we had received from Pam last week, she was correct in the parking issue prompting environmental review. So we want to reopen the public. So we'll set the public hearing this evening for July 18th so that we can reopen that hearing and have further conversations with the applicant about parking, environmental review, et cetera.
Will that be posted again, or does that not necessary because it's the same?
Posted.
Yeah, posted again, and we have plenty of time.
Renotice.
That's
Yeah.
on July 17th?
It'll be July 18th. Next town board meeting?
July 18th.
July 18th.
Yes, July 18th. Okay, so that was that agenda item. Going to move through this quickly. All right, so the next item is the Shelter Island Fireworks Outdoor Assembly Permit application. So this is for the fireworks themselves. And I know we have Kat is on. If we have any questions for her.
We have her do a presentation of it, just explain to us what this is going to be.
Yeah, Kat, do you want to just give us a brief overview?
I'm happy to. Oh, wait. Hold on. Start my video. Hi. I just want to thank the town. First off, the Shelter Island Fireworks, I understand, is a huge undertaking that involves all of our resources. It's a huge community event, and we are super appreciative of everything that the town board does, as well as the EMS, the fire department, the police, everyone who volunteers locally. So I just first want to mention that we understand it's a huge undertaking and the community really appreciates it, as does the board. So starting on Friday night, do you want me to start Friday night? Well, starting on Friday, the bathrooms get delivered to Crescent Beach. I'll just give you the rundown top to bottom the way it's normally run. There is a fundraiser Friday at SALT. That was the permit for the noise exemption that was put in Saturday morning.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll get to that one next.
Okay.
So this is just the permit for the fireworks.
Saturday, the fireworks, the barge will be at the Shelter Island Yacht Club by 8 a.m. The fireworks get loaded. They will be coming. It's Grucci, who we've worked with before, Scott Cooper, who everyone is or anyone who's met is very familiar with. He's a great guy. He's been doing the show for years on Shelter Island. He brings his whole family. They are loading at the Yacht Club again, who have been very gracious to let us use their pier. Around 5 o'clock, the barge will go to in front of Crescent Beach, the same spot that it has been. We have the police boats helping us secure that area. All of the permits are in place for that. At 5 minutes of 9, to keep things in line with Chief Reed, we send off a warning shot so that anyone at the top of the hill can scramble down. And then the show goes off. It's about 17 to 19 minutes. At the end of that, everyone goes home. The next morning around 5 o'clock, we have people combing the beach and the second tee and green to make sure that there's no garbage, nothing's been left behind. The highway department combs the beach, and then the barge goes back to Sag Harbor, where it came from. A few things to note about the day of the fireworks. We do have a designated family area. That's going to be by the bathrooms at the beginning of the beach. We have signs that signify that it's the family area. The bathrooms are going to be the same, with the only addition being that the command center, which is closer to Pearlman, will now have a porta potty down there where myself, the chief, the fire department, and a representative from Grucci are, just so that, it's a little bit easier than going into Pearlman. What questions can I answer for you guys?
What time did you say cleanup was the next morning?
Our people get down there, I would say 5 o'clock, but honestly, it's probably earlier than that. Like if there's a ray of
Wow.
light on the beach, they're there.
Wow.
We clean up the night before. So the garbage is emptied by the town during the day, and then everything is made sure it's put into bags, because we go up and down the beach that night as people are leaving. But then I have people who go back at first light to make sure that there's nothing on the beach.
Wow.
Anybody else? We've gotten sign-offs from both PD and Highway, so we're good there. Fire chief was at the attendance at the meeting, the pre-planning meeting that we had, PMS as well. So we covered all of our bases. And it's a well-run machine.
Just as you're thanking everybody, we want to thank you very, very much for doing this. This is a heck of an undertaking, greatly appreciated by the masses of people here on Shelter Island that attend the fireworks. Really appreciate all the efforts of all the volunteers that help out, and the fundraising efforts as well. Thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
So then we will move on to the permit for the fundraiser that will take place at SALT on the night before the fireworks.
Correct. So that is a noise exemption permit. We raise a large portion of our funds in very few events because of the nature of the season. So that is one of them. The party goes from 6 to 11. The Shelter on Fireworks will be there selling merchandise. There'll be barbecue. Any alcohol sales goes through SALT, so that's all covered by them. It's open to the public. People can come by for a little amount of time or a long amount of time. It's a hard stop at 11 o'clock, and then everyone gets out of there so they can get to the beach early.
Is there anything that we can do about shortening that time up? Because 6 to 11 is long, 5 hours seems a long time.
Well, the music doesn't actually start till 8:30. So while there might be an acoustic band there, the way that we've done it in the past is that the Realm, when they play from about 8:30, 8:45 until 11, and then it's a hard stop. At this point, that's why we've asked for the noise exemption, as it's written the way that it is in the town code. That's why we applied for it. Next year, we can certainly look to change something if the way that it's written changes. We certainly want to be, sensitive to the people who are around.
Yeah, I think next year, it's really less like codes, hard line on the code. It's more thinking of the neighbors, that 11 PM, maybe even 10:30, 10, and maybe it could be slightly earlier, just to think about it.
I was thinking of an 8 to 10:30 as a compromise. We were thinking of, before, we were just talking, a week ago or so, when looking at the application a little bit, maybe 10 o'clock, but maybe just to compromise a little bit, start a half hour earlier and end a half hour earlier. So instead of going 8:30 to 11, 8 to 10:30, is that a possibility?
In the future, that's definitely a possibility going forward. As of right now, that's not the way that we've ever done it in the past, so that's not the way that I have it right now. But we're open to absolutely, we're open to it in the future.
Yeah, Pat, you have to understand you're requesting a permit. So that this board can restrict the hours. There's nothing in code that limits them to do that. So I think they're looking for flexibility from you to 10:30.
I absolutely understand. And if that's what the board is offering, then that's what I'll take. We filled out the permit for 11 o'clock because that was originally what we asked for. So I'm asking for 11. If you're saying 10:30, I understand it is at the discretion of the board to make that decision.
And in full disclosure, Jim, I had a sidebar conversation with Kat. Look, we in the police department are trying to balance community Keith and Ally and Salt do a great job with hosting community events. This is a community event that does significant fundraising. But I do think we're all looking at striking the proper balance with the neighborhood. And Kat, you kind of know where I'm coming from. I think the board's pretty reasonable at the 10:30, and I'd feel more comfortable with that myself.
We all
Sure, I
feel-
mean,
I mean, my only comment is that, you could always risk it and stick with the 11 o'clock and then maybe get a neighbor or two to complain and then they want it earlier. I just think that you try to the best of your ability, as Jim just very well stated, striking a balance here between, the tremendous job that you're doing here to raise money versus, people wanting to go to sleep and have some peace and quiet in the neighborhood around 10:30 as opposed to 11 o'clock. So, again, it's a little bit of a gamble, but wherever we can show, that we're, as a town board, trying to be somewhat reasonable we do this in every decision that we make. We always take in, especially when it comes to noise, that we're not looking to bring undue pressure on the part of a bunch of people to cancel an event or, have it now go back to 9 o'clock or something like that. So, that's just the dilemma that we're in,
Keith, you raised your
absolutely,
hand.
whatever.
If you could come up to the.
Yeah, hey, Keith Navarro from Salt. I just wanted to say that we did in the past go past 11 o'clock. And we did, Ally and I, myself, were very conscious of the neighbors. And we did say, hey, listen, we got to bring this back down. We can't go this late. It's getting out of control. It's getting too loud. So we did actually bring it down on our own.
Okay.
So we are fully aware of, the neighbors and trying to do the right thing. And we thought that was doing the right thing. So I just take that into account as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
I guess my take on it is just, it is a venue that gets used for a number of
Yes.
fundraising events, gets noise exemption, so the neighbors
Are asked for a lot.
are continuing to be the ones directly impacted by it, so maybe if we inflict a little pain on all the not-for-profits that come before us and.
Maybe this year, the last set is acoustic.
That's like me, who's the.
John,
I think we talk about it all, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, we can definitely address the 10:30, but I just wanted to be stated that we were very aware of that and we did
Yeah.
bring that back down.
In previous years, it did go later.
Very,
We went to like midnight.
yeah, very much so. And it was- we're trying to do the right thing.
So what do we want to do? Because we're going to pass this resolution at the 6 o'clock meeting.
mhm.
We want to stick with 11, bring it back down to 10:30. Do 10:30 to 11 acoustic only.
In reference to what you just said, Keith, being reasonable too. Used to go on to 12, we have it at 11. It's got to be a drop dead 11.
Hard out.
That hard out. However, if we do get any kind of complaints from neighbors because of the number of times it's being used, know full well that next year we're definitely going to ask you for an early.
I think
Not
that's
gonna be here,
completely
but
fair.
the board that's here is probably going to ask you to bump that up. I just don't want to, where they bump it to 9:30 or 10 o'clock, which defeats the whole purpose. So we're trying to just err on the side of caution for this year. If you want to take that gamble for the last half hour of it and neighbors are, fine with that.
It's the only day of the year that we do
Yes,
this.
okay.
It's one day.
Oh, that you go that late?
Yeah, it's the only day.
Okay, all right, well, that makes a difference, actually, what you
Okay.
just said.
We raise a lot of money that day. It's that people think it's the best day on Shelter Island. So I think it's fair to give it to them.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
comfortable with
okay
it.
keeping it at 11.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, and let's see,
Okay,
yeah,
we'll keep it at 11.
yeah, that was good info, yeah.
All right. Anybody else with anything on that one? No. Okay. So then the next one is the CAST charity event, also at Salt. So Keith, probably you should come up because application did not have the expected maximum number of people on the property.
Did I not submit it at one?
No, he submitted it.
Oh, then I printed, well, there was an updated one. Okay, sorry.
This is the first time that we're ever doing it, so I don't really know. But I would assume, I'm hoping 150
Thank you.
would be a great turnout.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is.
That's my art.
What is it, sort of like a cocktail party, or what is
It's going to be very similar. We're going to have, we're trying to raise funds for CAST,
Yeah.
which is an amazing organization that really needs money.
Yeah.
And so I've been dealing very closely with my new manager as the director of the culinary program for CAST. And I worked with them last year when we shut down the restaurants, was taking all my food, making meals and giving them to CAST. And I'm going to work with the rest of the hospitality groups out here on the island to see if we can do more of that. But I wasn't aware of CAST. Now I'm really starting to learn, and they do need a lot of money, and they do help a lot of people.
They help a lot of people on
They do.
Shelter
That's what I'm
Island.
saying, yeah, and it's all starting to really move to Shelter Island in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So I want to really get behind them, and I wish Kathy was here, who's the director of CAT. She really needs money.
Yeah.
And I have the ability to get her some money, and I'd really like to do that. And the way that we can do that is, I have this business, I have this format, I'm not gonna go, I'm asking for a noise exemption to 8 o'clock at night, which I think was more than fair.
Right.
It's 5 to 8. What we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try it out, we're gonna learn about this on the property, see how much money I can raise, try to get creative and try to make this a thing for years to come, that we can really get behind CAST and get them the money they need to help the community.
Right.
So that's my goal.
Yeah, well, it's a great goal, it's a great organization, they do great work, and they feed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, the need is definitely here, and it's a growing need.
And I think it's a good marriage between SALT, the hospitality groups, the restaurants, and CAST.
Food, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
So I'd like to see all of us get behind it, do some stuff for them. I think there's something there.
Yeah.
And we could do some really remarkable things for CAST in the community.
Yeah.
So this is the first step for me.
Great, that's super duper.
Love it.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, we're good. I think we're good.
No.
Kathy does not need to come at 6.
Appreciate that. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, all right, so we can, okay, so that was the last item on the agenda. It's 5:17, we're doing well because we've got the 6 o'clock meeting. Board member reports?
I'll start very quickly. I only had the one that I gave to everybody. I took the 12 water incentives that we're looking at over the course of the next, 3 to 6 months, for the remainder of this year, about things we could do to conserve water. And I had a meeting with Joe Fenora, and Joe and I broke it down. We're going to put this on the board, town board meeting for 2 weeks from now, since we don't meet next week. We'll discuss it with you, but there's some good incentives here. We tried to break it down into 3 phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and introduce them a little bit at a time. I think they're very logical, good measures on water conservation, and things that we ask on a lot of applications anyhow. I'd rather make these a normal operating procedure rather than try to fight for them on each and every application. Some of these things just make very, very good sense, especially for new homes in the shore area. So between now and the next 2 weeks, I just ask you guys, take a look at those things. This is not set in stone. So there might be some things in phase 2 that you'd like to move into phase 1. You might combine those phases, but Joe and I spent, a better part of an hour going through them one by one, and this is what we came up with. So thank you. That's it for me.
I'll go next. EMS met last week, and just a few statistics. They responded to 121 calls year-to-date so far. They participated in the Lions Club cleanup, Memorial Day Parade, the Shelter Island School Job Fair. So those are just some of the activities. So in addition to answering calls, and they'll be at the fireworks. So they do more than people, I think, sometimes realize as far as showing up and participating. We have the building permit for the front of the building work. So it will be going out to bid soon.
Yep.
The New York State Department of Health was going to come in with 4 people for a full day inspection. So that's the first one that we've had to undergo. But knowing how Jack runs that operation, I think we won't have any major issues coming back from that. Some volunteers are getting pressure from their jobs about responding to calls, and actually to our town employees who sometimes feel like they're, trying to juggle the balance between responding and so we need to probably look at that a little bit, because I think we should lead by example if possible. So it's just something to consider. we can kind of find out, I don't know exactly which two employees, I know one, but to see like what their issues are and how we can help. Maybe we're able to do our part, then other employers may feel comfortable following suit if we can come up with some workable
I
solutions.
think that's a great start, starting with us,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. And
We have
then,
the same thing in a school district, you know, with the custodial staff and grounds that would leave, you know, and we took care of it. I think it starts with us, and we should have a good policy that supports.
mhm. And then starting July 1st, we are going to have 24/7 coverage. We had budgeted for the whole year, thinking that we'd be able to get the 24/7 coverage and that Stony Brook Southampton would give us the grant, so to speak, of 50%, paying for 50%. That was not available. So we're going to use the 50% for the whole year and turn it into 100% that we're covering for the next 6 months. And we'll have to consider next year's budget. There'll be another budget hit on that respect. But we do have the money in the budget so that we can support it. And so July 1st, with the influx of visitors, having the 24/7 coverage is good. And that's all that I had.
All right. So we had a CPAC meeting last night to talk comp plan. We did make it through the land use and zoning chapter. So now we are compiling all the comments and comments from last night, comments from the public, forwarding them to the consultant so that they can work on developing a draft of the document that we'll hopefully have out for everybody mid to late July for everyone to review, and then we can start planning public workshops, public hearings and things of that nature. So that will be coming up in the future. People in the center of the island may have received letters and cards offering to test their water. What we're looking to do is to collect data on an area of the island that was historically highlighted as an area that possibly had high nitrate levels. So we're looking to get more solid data on that. We're coordinating with a water testing company who will take the tests for us, and then they will provide us with the data, but broken down into regions. So we won't actually receive individual homeowner address information. We're just going to receive data based on certain areas. So if you have any questions, or if you receive a card and you'd like to return it to us because you would like your water tested, we'd be more than happy to do that. So you can drop those off at Town Hall, or you can mail them back in. If you have questions, you can call Town Hall as to speak to Coco.
Megan, just out of curiosity,
Yes.
does the homeowner get the information?
Yes, so the homeowner will get a full report directly from the water testing company.
Okay,
We don't get that same report.
Correct.
We will just get the data in a spreadsheet. So, the homeowner gets the full report from the water testing company. They'll also get a letter explaining their report so they understand what they're looking at. We won't get that information. That's specifically for the homeowner, but what we'll just get is like the raw data. So we'll get, nitrate level was this, ammonia level was this, and it's in this region of the map. That way we have a better understanding of what's happening in the center. And we're going to kind of try to break it down by watershed so we understand the directionality of flow and things of that nature.
and still protecting the homeowner's right, that we're not messing with their assessment.
Their
and
privacy.
Their privacy, right.
Yeah.
So that's something that wanted to make that very clear to everybody.
Yes.
This is something that's it's just great information for you to have. And it's good information, but we'll never get the specifics on the actual address. But we'll be able to collect that data because we've been challenged by that. How do you know to what degree there is this source of pollution? What kinds of pollution are in the center of the island? We know there's a nitrogen problem, or there are other problems as well.
We don't know the extent of the nitrogen.
Correct, or the extent of that. So this is a great way of doing it, still protecting the homeowner, giving the homeowner the information, which is just great information for them to have as well.
Meg, do you think, I have the triangle up. I just thought maybe we could share.
Yeah.
I could share the screen.
Screen so people can see the area.
Yeah,
we're
just
talking about.
because this is to prevent, people from, I want my water tested, making a trip up here or whatever. This will give you an idea of of whether or not you're in the area, in the target
What- yeah,
area.
what homes were solicited
Yeah.
for businesses as well.
Yeah. No, it's not working. So share screen. There did it come up?
When you say we,
The town,
and was that working with any committee?
Yeah.
the
WAC.
Water Advisory Committee, WAC, and then WQI, we're gonna request funding from WQI when we know how many people have responded. So we can go to them with a number.
Just came right after CPAC, so I didn't know.
Yes, the WAC, sorry,
Right.
yeah, I had switched,
Yeah.
I had changed.
So here it is. There's the triangle, it's sort of a, general area there. If you fall within it or you're at the edge, you probably got a letter. And if you didn't get a letter and you fall within that triangle, by all means, contact us here at Town Hall, Coco, or just call the general number and ask for Coco, and we can get you on the list if your address is in that triangle. Okay? All right.
It's a big area, you know?
It's a whole lot of island.
Yeah.
It is.
It is a pretty big area, but
There's a better view. You can see that, all the heights is outside of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that's all I have.
And Monantic Creek is, that's
Yeah.
very important, that those homes that
Yeah.
line Monantic Creek are all inside the triangle,
Yeah.
which a lot of concern about, people have expressed about the condition of Monantic Creek. And that homeowners association, if they have one, or at least they're getting together informally, they're very concerned about the flow going into that area. So hopefully we'll get a good response back.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
there anything we're targeting, a
good
number
response so
of
far.
responses? What's that?
It's been a good response.
Oh,
so
good.
far.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
We've had at least 50 people respond, and we just
Wow.
mailed them out Friday.
yeah.
So
Wow.
we've gotten a good response. We
Wow.
sent out 423, I
Yeah.
believe.
I think people care about what goes into their bodies.
Yeah. So, I'm optimistic,
Good.
reservedly optimistic.
Yeah, no, that's great.
It's not the number so much, Jim, as the distribution.
Yes.
That's
yeah,
really
yeah.
what we're looking for.
Yeah, yeah. And hopefully you'll get that.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you'll get that. You'll get some concentrations because like people on Monantic, I'm sure are more organized to try to get that done, but yeah, it's important to get the entire triangle represented. Yeah, no doubt about
That's the goal. That's all I had.
Yeah, I was with Meg.
Okay. Then we will open it up to the public. There's anyone on Zoom who would like to ask a question or make a comment? Pam?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I just want to thank you for taking my comments and concerns seriously on that one project, and I really do appreciate it. I think it's important that, process is followed and we all understand how it goes. I'm sorry that it delays the man's project, but perhaps in the end, he'll get everything he wants without any concerns going forward. So really, thanks again on this rough day that we're having in town. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing it out, by the way. So, works both ways.
Anyone else? All right, I will then accept a motion to
Make a motion.
close the meeting, or close the work session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll have a town board meeting at 6.